Hi guys, it's Cameron from the Mighty Blues and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the game review to our absolutely shocking, absolutely awful 2-0 defeat to Aston Villa at Villa Park on Friday night. Now it is a Sunday afternoon. I usually do the game reviews on a Monday. However, a couple of things really. Obviously it's bank holiday tomorrow. We've got the game preview to do to the Lincoln game on Wednesday. And I just want to get this game out of my mind, to be honest. And I think we can all say the same. It was absolutely shocking. It was woeful, and I think the sooner we forget about this game, the better. So I thought, you know what, I'll do the game review as soon as possible, and then we can get this one out the way and move on to looking forward, because I think that's what we need to do, really. Because listen, you know, you watch a game of football, and even if you get beat, even if you lose, even if you appear to perform badly, you'll sit there and you'll watch the game and you'll think, okay, we were shite today. But a couple of days later, you might reflect on it, you might watch it again on Match of the Day, and you might try and pick little positives out of it. But to be honest, I don't think there's any positives we can take out of Friday night's performance. I think we were absolutely shocking. After the 15-20th minute mark, when we stopped really pressing, when Villa scored the first goal, I think it all went to shit from there. And you've seen my instant match reaction. You've heard my initial thoughts on the game. Obviously, we spoke about fitness. We're going to speak about it again today. I think the fitness is really worrying for me. I understand that, obviously, it's a different shape. I understand that, obviously, Jean-Philippe Gabamon was taken out of the team, and that took a load of pace, a load of energy out the midfield. But for me, the load of them just looked absolutely so unfit throughout the entire game, especially at the end of the first half. And I think that was sort of... that was shown by Gylfi Sigurdsson trying to whip one from past the halfway line before the half-time whistle, because he didn't have the energy to run. So we'll talk about fitness in today's game. We'll talk about Kean and Alex Iwobi as well, today's stream. We'll talk about Kean and Alex Iwobi as well, because as I've titled the stream, I now think that it's time for Kean and Alex Iwobi to start for Everton. Now, I undoubtedly assume that they'll start on Wednesday night against Lincoln City, obviously in the Carabao Cup, and that'll be a fantastic opportunity for Marco Silva to get them into the team, for Marco Silva to give them game time, give them experience playing against, playing in a cup competition. But for me, I think they need to start against Wolves now. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin's opportunity is missed on Friday night, and obviously the likes of Theo Walcott missing opportunities. Richarlison, I really think, needs a rest. I think it's time now for Alex Iwobi and Kean to be brought into the team. Obviously, we've seen Iwobi off the bench for the first time on Friday night, done well, created a couple of opportunities, hit the post, and we've seen Kean for the last couple of weeks now, and I think it's about time that we start to see him from the start, because, he appears a lot fitter than the rest of them do, and even if he is a little bit out of position, even if he doesn't fully understand the system yet, I think, we now need to look at results, and we need to look at performances, and we need to say, well, in the, combined 1.5 games that he's played in terms of substitute appearances, he's created more opportunities than Dominic Calvert-Lewin has, and he's also very nearly scored as well, and he should have had an assist on Friday night. We're going to talk about Dom's chance, we're going to talk about Walcott's chance as well, we're going to talk about the midfield three, and we're going to talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson's involvement, and we're also going to talk a little bit about VAR in today's live team, because I think it's important that we delve straight into this game, because listen, it wasn't just one of those performances where you can go, well, you know what, we were beaten by the better team, we played well, but we fairly got beat. We were absolutely shocking, and it was quite embarrassing for me to sit there and watch that game of football after all the hype pre-game to it, after all the hype about how, we could possibly finish in the top 6, the hype about how we could have gone top of the league and all that, and I think it all just come crumbling down on Friday night, and we were absolutely dreadful. Everton FC is the best, says, hey, how you are doing well. He also says, shit game, definitely was, and he also says, Iwobi and Kean have to play. As soon as they came on, they had some decent shots. People are saying it's Marco, but it's the only thing wrong with Marco is his substitutions. Yeah, I don't think it's the time at the minute to go into Marco Silva, and I've seen, some fans saying he's not the right man for the job and stuff on Twitter. I think it's far too early to be throwing out shouts like that. Listen, he made a couple of tactical mistakes on Friday night, but I think the players were majorly to blame for it as well. I just don't think they turned up whatsoever. We're going to talk about Kean and Alex Iwobi, because they were the bright sparks of the game. I suppose if you had to take one positive out of it, is the performance of the team once they come on. They obviously massively improved the team. They were creating opportunities. Alex Iwobi very unlucky to not get a goal himself on his debut, and Kean very unlucky to not get an assist. Theo Walcott should really do better with that, and again, it's another opportunity where we sat here in the game preview, we sat here before the game and we said we don't want to be sitting here next week thinking, well, if only we'd have put that chance away, if only we'd have scored that chance. We don't want to be sitting here at the end of the season thinking if only we'd have got the 3 points there. And at the end of the day, we were beaten by the better team on Friday night, and we were beaten by 2-0. But if that game had ended in a draw, draw, then you might have come out of it going, well, you know what, it's a draw away from home, it's not the worst result, but 2-3 months down the line, you'd be looking going, well, if only Dom finishes that opportunity, if only Walker can get a shot on target from 6 yards out, then, you know, we could have got a 3 points, and that could be an important 3 points towards the end of the season. And I don't think there's any excusing them opportunities going to waste. I really, really don't think there is. Carl says, hello Cam, I agree with you about Kean and Iwobi, or Iwobi and Kean. They should start against Lincoln as well. Tom Davies should be given a chance. Yeah, he should. We'll talk about the midfield today, and we'll talk about how Tom could have an involvement. Kadir says, Tosin deserves a chance. Listen, I seen a tweet today, actually from an Evertonian saying if Cenk Tosin had been given the chance that Dominic Calvert-Lewin had and Theo Walcott had, he'd have slotted it, and obviously that's all, you know, if buts and maybes, but I actually think he probably would have got them at least, definitely Theo Walcott at least on target, and you know, Dom's, it was harder to miss really when you think about it. He had the half of the goal to aim at, and he aimed at the other half with 4 Villa players standing there. David says, honestly, my nan would have scored Walcott's chance, though she has been a baller back in the day. Kadir says, Everton, Lincoln City. Yes, on Wednesday night, of course, Everton FC is the best. Richarlison definitely needs a rest. That's a fact. Yeah, he is. He's absolutely knackered. He is knackered. We'll talk about him in a sec. And David Collins says, yeah. So let's just go into talking about it. Listen, one of the main, probably the main topic I brought up on Friday night in my instant match reaction was my... I don't want to say my disappointment in the fitness levels of the players, let's say, because I think, listen, we're 3 weeks into the season now, and you can excuse it in the first week. You can excuse the players as being a little bit tired, obviously, coming back from the various international duties, coming off the back of pre-season. You can excuse that. We're 3 weeks into the season now, and we made Aston Villa look like Manchester City. There was no fitness issues from Aston Villa. Why were our players knackered after the 10-15 minutes of pressing? It looked like we started the game really, really well. We pressed for about 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then after their first goal winning, we weren't just deflated because we conceded the goal. It wasn't the usual deflation like you see in last season where our heads are dropping, you know, we wouldn't quite get back into the game. We looked physically knackered. We looked like we couldn't get back into the game, and I said in the instant match reaction, I don't know whether it's just me, but Sigurdsson looked like he didn't have the energy to move. Bernard, Richarlison looked like they didn't have the energy to move. Dominic Calvert-Lewin wasn't as energetic. And that's a real big worry for me. It's a massive worry because we're 3 weeks into a Premier League season now and we're seeing teams such as Aston Villa who have only just come up running us ragged because they're fit. You're seeing other teams, the teams at the top of the table, that are, you know, their fitness levels are much more improved than ours, and it's a big worry for me. I understand Richarlison's case because he's had a long summer, obviously, playing in the Copa America with Brazil, and I do think Richarlison needs a rest now, and I think it's about time that Marco Silva gives Richarlison a rest. I think he does need to come out of the team for a couple of weeks, and I'm not just talking the Lincoln game on Wednesday night. I'm talking for a good 2 or 3 weeks in Premier League times as well. I don't think we should see Richarlison in the starting 11 until after the international break for me, because he's had a long summer. He's not had much of a pre-season and he's been thrown straight back into the deep end, and you can clearly see that the lad's not fit. So take him out the team, give him a rest, give him the opportunity to get, you know, his fitness back up, give him a little bit of, like I said, a rest, because playing him from the off and playing him for 70-75 minutes every single game, we're not getting anything out of him. He's not creating like he was creating last season. He's not as energetic because he can't be, because he's knackered. So bring him out the team. And like I said, for me, I can accept that Richarlison's not at top level of fitness. I can accept that Richarlison's struggling. The others I can't really accept, because 90% of them have been in pre-season, 90% of them have been there from the first or the second week at least. So there's absolutely no excuse as to why they should have been knackered on Friday night. It wasn't just the fitness levels, don't get me wrong, that ended up obviously seeing us lose the game. If we were fully fit, I still think we'd have lost on the day. It's the fact that, well, A, we don't create an awful lot of chances, and B, the chances that we do create, we just don't score. We're simply not clinical enough, and we said this before the Villa game, we said this last week. It's all fine and good saying now that we haven't conceded the goal at Goodison Park since the 6th of February. It's all fine and good saying now, you know, we haven't conceded this season and our defence has been brilliant, and they have been brilliant, and I'm not going to sit here and blame the defence for Friday night's result, because yeah, Michael Kean gets caught on his blind side, and he might have been able to do a little bit better. Yerry Mina might have been able to do a little bit better at times, but at the end of the day, they put two balls in the back of the net off 2 chances. We had a good 4 chances in that game, and I'm not just talking about chances where you look and you go, oh, he could have scored there. I'm talking about chances that I probably could have put in the back of the net, a good 3 or 4 of them that would have seen us win the game. So I'm not going to go and sit and talk about the defence, but we sat here and we said about how, you know, it's going to come to a point, at some point in the season, we're going to concede a goal, and we need to make sure that it's no good. Yeah, it's boss if you're not conceding, it's fantastic if your defence is brilliant, but it's no good if you can't score either. And if you're going down the other end and you can't do anything the other end, it's no good. If we've got a fantastic defence and, you know, we concede minimal goals, if we cut out those silly mistakes, which we seem to, you know, have been doing in the first couple of weeks of the season, and then we can go up the other end and we can put 2 or 3, and then we'll have a fantastic season. But we just simply do not score enough goals. We simply are not clinical enough. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for me, I love the lad and I think he works his bollocks off, but at the end of the day, listen, you know, I'd be willing to accept that Dom isn't a natural number, and I understand that he come in as a little bit of a midfielder, and he wasn't always a striker. He wasn't a striker when we brought him in, and I could accept that. You know, he's learning the trade, he's learning the position, and that's going to take a little bit of time, and I can accept that in him not being in the right positions at the right time, or maybe him not being on the end of balls when he should be, but missing opportunities from 6 yards out when you've got the half the goal to hit is just not acceptable for me. The lad, I think he just rushes his shot. He sees it and he's more focused on getting it on target rather than getting it in the back of the net, and that's not good enough for me, because they're the opportunities that we'll be looking back on at the end of the season and going, we lost points there because we didn't take our opportunities, and we don't create enough as it is. So the 2 or 3 chances that we do create a game, we need to be clinical with, and we're not being clinical at the moment. Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't been clinical enough. Theo Walker hasn't been clinical enough. Richarlison hasn't been clinical enough. Last week he had 2 chances against Watford and he put them both over the bar, and we can't afford to be wasting chances. We can't afford to be putting chances wide and thinking, well, we'll probably get another 5 or 10 in this game, because it doesn't work like that. You need to be putting your chances in the back of the net, and we're simply not doing that at the moment. And it was all fine and dandy when we weren't conceding and the defence was performing fantastically against Palace and against Watford. But when we do concede a goal, when that does fall to bits a little bit, which is bound to happen because no defensive partnership will play 38 games in a Premier League season and not concede a single goal, we need to make sure that we can go up the other end and score 2 or 3. If we'd have conceded in that game, and let's say we conceded 1 but with a 1-3-1, 4-1, or if we conceded 2 but with a 1-4-2, you'd go, not really bothered about the defence because it was always going to happen. It's the fact that we're not clinical enough going forward that lost us that game, and yet the fitness issues are worrying, but take the fitness out of it, if we were fully fit, I still don't think we'd have won that game on Friday night, because we were just absolutely shocking. And it's typical Everton, isn't it? When there's something on the line, and I know we shouldn't have really been, you know, that excited about going top of the league, because obviously it's very, very early and it all would have changed over this weekend anyway, or the clean sheet record. And no, it's not anything major to talk about, but when there's something on the line, Everton always find a way to cock it up, and we weren't just being on Friday night. For me, we were absolutely battered by a side that we should have been absolutely peppering for 90 minutes. That first 10 or 15 minutes should have been how the game panned out for the rest of the game, but as soon as their goal went in, their first goal, which was against the run of play, we just stopped and we just fell to bits. And it wasn't a typical Everton falling to bits because the confidence in their heads dropped, whatever. It was we're bollocks, we're knackered, and we were so unorganised. The midfield was so sporadic. There was no shape, there was no structure. It was like watching a Sunday League team for that last 60 minutes of the game, until, like I said, Iwobi and Kean come on and we started to create more opportunities. And even then, we couldn't put the ball in the back of the net when Moise Kean has put it straight on Theo Walcott's feet, literally 6 yards out. It's an unbelievable cross, by the way. I'm going to give the lad utmost amount of credit for this, because he turns the Villa player inside out and he puts an exquisite ball into the box. Literally an unbelievably weighted cross over everybody's head, but just good enough to fall on Walcott's feet, and he still manages to cock it up. And for me, you've just got to sit there then and go, we can't waste these chances. We just can't waste these chances. I'm just going to tweet today's team out so everybody knows we are live. I think Newcastle have just beat Spurs as well, which was an interesting one. And again, how frustrating is that? We've seen Friday night where, you know, we've been beaten by Aston Villa, an opportunity for... clicked on the scene by accident. I'm not going to talk about an opportunity for us to go top of the league, but an opportunity for us to gain an advantage on the sides around us. And you've got Manchester United who have lost this weekend. You've got Chelsea who have barely won. You've got Arsenal who have lost. You've got Spurs who have lost. Now, I'm not saying that we're anywhere near Spurs' level or even Arsenal or United's level, but those are the teams that at the start of the season we said we need to be aiming at these sides. We need to be aiming at trying to fight for the top 6 against these sides. They're dropping points and we've dropped points as well in a week where, again, the teams that some would argue it around us, the likes of Leicester and West Ham, they've won their games of football. So it just really, really is disappointing, I think, and I'm not going to sit here and delve into it. I'm not going to sit here and worry about it too much, because we are only 3 games in, and I'm still got faith in Silva. I've still got faith in Brandon. I think we'll massively improve, but I do think Silva needs to get the lads in the dressing room. I think he needs to get the lads in training this week and say, listen, we don't have another performance like that, because that was absolutely shocking. Where are we? Jonathan says, I'd play Gibson centre back. I wouldn't be surprised if Gibson was in the team, if not in the squad against Lincoln. Obviously he's been playing well for the under-23s, and at the end of the day, we need a backup centre back as well, because, you know, if me or Kean get injured, we're a bit fucked. Evan FC is the best, says, I didn't go to that game, but I did watch it, and I felt like I was looking at a championship club. As soon as that first goal went in, we just gave up and acted like it was the end. We could have easily won. We had the opportunities to win the game, even when 1-0 down, we had the opportunities to win the game, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there. We were playing Aston Villa, who, you know, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say they're, a shit team, whatever. I praised them before the game. They are a big club and they deserve to be in the Premier League. But at the end of the day, they've only just come back into the Premier League. They've spent a couple of seasons in the Championship, and they've been beaten in the first 2 opening Premier League games. So I think it'd be fair to say that they're still a Championship team inside. They're not a Championship club, they're a Championship team inside of the players. I was watching that game on Friday night, and there was times where I thought, these are absolutely playing it round us here. They're absolutely dominating us. It's almost as if we were playing Manchester City or somebody like that, and it shouldn't be like that. And I think, as much as you can praise Aston Villa and say that was because of how good they were, yeah, absolutely fair enough, but I also think it was because of how poor we were, and that's the worrying thing for me. If you're enjoying this team so far, please do hit the like button. It really, really means a massive amount to me. Evan FC is the best, says, of course we were at the best effort. If we were at the best effort, yeah. David says, I think Gibson will get time. Iwobi will play Kean and Davis, Sidibe, Delph. It's going to be a test game. It is, and you know what? Iwobi might come in and have an absolute fantastic game and deserve his spot against Wolves. Kean the same, Davis the same, Sidibe the same, because I don't necessarily think Seamus Coleman was brilliant on Friday night either. But for me, Moise Kean and Alex Iwobi need to start against Wolves. Whether they play on Wednesday night or not, they need to be in that starting 11 against Wolves, because we can't afford to be not taking our chances again. And for me, Richarlison blatantly needs a rest, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin just doesn't score enough goals for me, and at the minute we really need to be scoring goals. Craig says, drop DCL and Sigurdsson and put Kean up front, Iwobi on the left and Bernard behind Kean. I'd be well open to that one. Dave says, Villa had 3 chances, we had 1 on target, though we outshot them, had more of the ball, just let ourselves down. And that's all we ever do, we just let ourselves down. Like I said, we had opportunities in that game to score goals. We had opportunities in that game to win the game, but we just didn't. It was just an absolute shocking performance, in my opinion. Evan FC is the best. I'm not sure about dropping Siggy. He's a great player. He needs to put the effort in. We have seen what Siggy can do, and he does amazing. He just has been off lately and needs a rest, it looks. Listen, I'm going to talk about Gylfi Sigurdsson in a minute, because I think, I'm not saying I've solved the equation or whatever, but I think I've come to see something on Friday night's game that I think may be affecting Gylfi Sigurdsson's play. We'll talk about it in a second. Ian says, and Sig missed the sitter against Palace. He did. FC is the best, says, I'm going to the Sheffield United game. If we don't beat them, I'll be so disappointed, but I'll stay blue forever. Of course, we all will, but we need to start getting points on the board at the end of the day. We need to be not just getting points on the board, we need to start taking the chances that we're creating, because we're not a team that creates a lot of chances anyway. So the chances that we do create, we need to start putting them in the back of the net. Jeff says, we're not good enough, end of. We're rubbish. I don't think we've improved since Moyes left, and if anything, we've gone backwards. Silver is not the man I would have Moyes back. Fair enough. I wouldn't personally, but fair enough. Opinion's an opinion. David says, we have the players. We can't say we should be falling short because it's a curve. We're 3 years in now, but 2 years into Silver's reign. But yeah, listen, absolutely fair enough. And Jeff says, Richarlison crying all the time. Moyes would put up with that. Wouldn't have put up with that, I assume you meant to say. Yeah, but listen, we were shocking on Friday night, and I hope more than anyone that it's just a blip, and it was just an awful performance, and that will come out against Wolves. Let's forget about the Lincoln game for now. We'll come out against Wolves in the Premier League, and we'll absolutely blather them, and we'll look fantastic, and again, we'll look like a team that wants to challenge that top 6, and then you can go, well, you know what? Fair enough, maybe that game against Villa was just a one-off, but it's very, very worrying, because if we perform like that against Wolves, it could be a cricket score. It really, really could be, because Wolves' players, Wolves' squad, Wolves' team it's got a lot more quality than Aston Villa's has, in all fairness, and that's no disrespect to Aston Villa. That's just obviously Wolves are another year down the line, and they've already got some big results this year as well. So listen, I just think we were awful on Friday night, and I think we all want to forget about the game as quick as possible, to be honest with you. And maybe the Lincoln games are positive, because maybe it gives us a chance to go out there and put in a decent performance against Lincoln and get through, and raise the spirits once again, and then obviously go on to Wolves at the weekend. But at the minute, to be an Evertonian, like I said, usually you sit back and you watch the game again and you maybe think, okay, well, we can take a couple of positives from it, but I haven't even bothered watching the game again. I'm not going to lie, I haven't even bothered, because I thought, I already know there's no positives I can take from it, because we were just absolutely shocking. Other than the new lads coming on and impressing, we were shocking. Please do leave a like if you're not enjoying this team so far. Anyway, I want to go and talking about, like I said, we've spoken about fitness. I think it is worrying, and I think that's all you can say at the minute, is that the fitness issues, it is worrying, because we're starting to see players pull up. We're starting to see players look physically knackered when the camera's panning to them, look absolutely knackered after 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. That's something obviously Marco Silva and the team are going to have to deal with and going to have to sort out at Finch Farm. I want to talk about Kean and Iwobi. Like I said, the title of this team is that they must start against Wolves, and I think they should start against Wolves, and I think they should start on Wednesday night as well against Lincoln, because at the end of the day, we only really looked positive after the first 10-15 minutes when we had that spell, and after Villa's first goal, the only positive bit of play that we seemed to be involved in was when Moise Kean and Alex Iwobi come on the pitch. Obviously, Alex Iwobi coming on, having an instant impact, winning the ball, bringing the ball forward, trying to be direct, obviously creating opportunities, hitting the post himself. Very, very unlucky to not get his first Everton goal on his debut. Moise Kean, again, bringing the ball forward, using his skill, using his ability, using his strength, obviously turning players inside out, putting an absolutely fantastic cross in for Theo Walker, who obviously missed it. And I think what we've seen out of those two players on Friday night is directness and a hunger as well, and I think that's what we were missing throughout the entire game on Friday. The lads had no hunger. They didn't look like they had any inkling to win that game of football whatsoever, whereas when Kean and Iwobi come on, you could see that they were trying to prove a point. They were trying to show that they should be in that starting 11, and I honestly think they should be given that chance now. If you start Alex Iwobi and Moise Kean from the off against the likes of Wolves, and they play absolutely fantastic, they create 2 or 3 chances, they put the ball in the back of the net, and with 2 or 3-0 up on the 50th minute mark, and they start to tire, that's when you can bring them off and bring Calvert-Lewin on or bring Walker on, because I think those players are good enough to see a game out, but I don't think they're good enough to win you a game of football, because I don't think they're clinical enough in front of goal, and we've seen that on Friday night. At the end of the day, we're in a bit of a situation now where it's not like we can say, well, Keane's only just coming into the team and Iwobi's only, made 1 appearance off the bench. We're at the point now where we need to be playing the players that create the opportunities, and we need to be playing the players that look like they're a genuine threat to goal. And at the minute, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's about as a threat to goal as, this bottle of water is sitting next to me. And Theo Walker couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo at the minute. And I think, realistically, we need the players in the squad and in the team that are going to threaten and are going to really, really push to put the ball in the back of the net, and that's why I think Moise Kean and Iwobi should start against Wolves. And what have we got to lose realistically? Because we need to win this game. We need to be getting the points on the board like we've spoken about so much in the past. And at the end of the day, I'm really not confident in bringing Dominic Calvert-Lewin on, keeping Dominic Calvert-Lewin on from the start, and even bringing Theo Walker off the bench in order to get us a winning goal, because I just don't think they're on form at the minute, and I don't think that they're as clinical in front of goal as Alex Iwobi and Moise Kean seem to be. And obviously neither of them have scored and neither of them have proved that yet, but they just look more threatening than Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Theo Walker as well. And we've seen that on Friday night when they come on, they seem to have been more of a threat, and that's exactly what we need. We need players that are going to threaten. We need players that are going to scare the opposition. We need players that are going to create opportunities, and for me, that's not Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Theo Walker at the minute. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section down below. Of course, I personally think that those 2 players should be brought in now. I think they should start against Lincoln in midweek, and I think they should start against Wolves at the weekend as well. Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has a chance early on. He should do much, much better. We had opportunities to win the game. You had Calvert-Lewin's chance, you had Walker's chance, you had the Iwobi's chance. Now, I'm not going to go in and, discuss or critique Iwobi's chance, because it hits the post and the kid can't do much more, to be fair. In terms of, obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's, I just don't know what more to say. I've defended the lad through thick and thin. I think he's a fantastic footballer. I just don't think he's a natural goal scorer, to be honest with you, and that was proven again. You need to be putting the ball in the back of the net in that situation. You need to be scoring from that situation, and he just he just doesn't seem to be able to, does he, at the minute? Theo Walcott, again, it's a little bit different than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's obviously a player that's trying to learn his trade. He's trying to learn the position of a striker. He's, obviously he's still very young. He's played a lot of Premier League games. There's no excuse for Theo Walcott. He's an experienced Premier League player who should be putting that in the back of the net, and he didn't. And at the end of the day, Kean couldn't have put that any more on a plate for him. He couldn't have set that up any better for Theo Walcott, and he still managed to sky it. He still managed to get it off target. And again, it's the same situation that we're being in time and time again. The same situation that we were in last season, when you're sitting here and you're thinking, well, if we don't score, we don't win games of football, and we're creating these chances and we're not putting them away. And I don't know what else we can say. I don't know what more we can do as fans. I don't know what more we can do sitting here saying, well, you know what? If we don't score, we're not going to win games of football, and that's exactly what it was on Friday night. I want to talk about the midfield for a second as well. Listen, Andre Gomes was shocking on Friday night, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say about Gomes, because I think he's been fantastic since the start of the season. Other than, obviously, Friday's game, I think he was fantastic against Watford last week. I think he put in a man-of-the-match performance. I think he was okay against Palace until he came off as well. He couldn't string a pass together on Friday night. He really, really couldn't. I thought he was really, really poor. But I think the whole midfield was really, really poor. And I've come to a conclusion watching the game on Friday. I don't think we can play that three in the midfield without Idrissa Gana Gueye. I really, really don't think we can play that three in the midfield without Idrissa Gana Gueye. I don't think there's enough energy. I don't think there's enough pace. I don't think there's enough intensity. Morgan Schneiderlin's got very little pace. Gylfi Sigurdsson, as good as he is on the ball, as creative as he is, he's got very little pace. And Andre Gomes doesn't run around either. Andre Gomes is a luxury player. He's the type of player that you have in the squad, you have in the team, who's absolutely fantastic on the ball. He's brilliant with the ball at his feet. He's got unbelievable vision, but he ain't going to run around. He ain't going to run around the pitch. He ain't going to throw a tackle in. He ain't going to intercept. He's not going to do that, and that's why he works so well next to Idrissa Gana Gueye, who could run around, who would intercept, who would win the ball back, who'd do all the hard work, and then Andre Gomes could do all the fancy work. Next to a Morgan Schneiderlin, who also doesn't really do that, that hard work, doesn't really run around an awful lot, and Gylfi Sigurdsson doesn't as well. It's just a recipe for disaster for me. There's just no intensity, there's no agency in that midfield three, and they were all over the place on Friday night. They were absolutely all over the place. The structure, the shape was just non-existent, and that's how Villa played through us for the majority of the games, because the midfield was nowhere to be seen, and they had an easy route to our defence by just going through an empty midfield, and that really, really worries me. Listen, obviously it was a shock to the system when Jean-Philippe Gbamin was sort of, they announced, well, he didn't announce, it was revealed or released or rumoured that Jean-Philippe Gbamin had picked up quite a serious injury before the game in training. He's rumoured to be out for around 8 weeks. That's not been confirmed yet, but he's rumoured to be around for about 8 weeks. The club have said it's serious, and it's a lot more serious than they first feared. And it's strange because we're 2 games into the season. Jean-Philippe Gbamin's been here for a matter of weeks. He's played a couple of games. Those couple of games, a few fans were getting on his back saying that he needs to be better. I think we massively missed him on Friday. I'm going to throw it out there, and some people might say I'm stupid. Some people might say don't be silly, but I think we missed him. I really, really do think we missed him. I think we missed his intensity that we've seen over the last couple of games. I think we missed his ability to chase players down, ability to win the ball back, ability to put pressure on the opposition midfield, and I think that's what we didn't do on Friday night. We didn't pressure Villa enough. After the spell of 5 or 10 minutes at the start of the game, we simply didn't pressure Aston Villa enough, and for me, we missed Jean-Philippe Gbamin, because that's what he's been doing over the last couple of games, because he understands that he's not, ready yet realistically to play in the Premier League in terms of is on the ball. He needs to learn that he hasn't got a lot of time on the ball, but he'll always run round and he'll always chase it down and he'll always put pressure on the opposition, and that's what we massively, massively missed on Friday night. And considering he's out now for around 8 weeks, and we may have to play the midfield of Sigurdsson, Schneiderlin and Gomes, that worries me, because for me there's not enough intensity in that midfield. I think Morgan Schneiderlin's a decent footballer. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson's a fantastic footballer. I think Andre Gomes is a fantastic footballer, but they can't play in that diamond three. They really, really can't play in that diamond three, and I think they could play a part in this team, but in a different formation, in my opinion, because there's just not enough urgency and there's just not enough pace in that team. And you know what? I was sitting watching the game on Friday, and obviously we've spoken about Gylfi Sigurdsson over the last couple of weeks, and we've spoken about how he appears absent, and I really do think we don't play through the middle enough. I think we try and rely so much on the wings, and I think that's another reason as to why it's becoming so highlighted over the last couple of weeks, is the fact that Richarlison isn't fit, because we heavily rely on the wings, and I don't think Bernard had his best game on Friday night either, but he was fantastic against Watford. Richarlison obviously was highlighted against Watford for not, scoring the opportunities he created. We're going to the wing too much. We're relying too much on our wide men, and we're not utilising Gylfi-Sigurdsson. We're really not utilising him, and that's why he appears absent in games. That's why you'll see him strolling around. He doesn't get the ball enough. He doesn't create enough opportunities, because he's simply just being played out the game, because we rely too much on Bernard and Richarlison at the wing, and then whoever's up front to try and get on the end of it. And I think if we change the style a little bit, and we go through Gylfi-Sigurdsson, and we try and play the ball directly through the middle to the striker rather than going to the wingers, I think we could genuinely threaten teams, and that's something that Marco Silva definitely needs to look at, I think, over the next couple of weeks. Where are we in the live comments? Jeff says, we need to beat Lincoln. We need a good cut run, but I can see a banana skin coming up. Everton all over. Yeah, that will be Everton all over, but we do. We need a massive win on Wednesday night, just to boost the team, just to boost the fans, just to boost the feel around the place, because it couldn't get much worse than Friday night, so we desperately need a win on Wednesday night. Please do leave a like if you're enjoying this team so far, by the way, and hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel as well. It'd mean a massive amount to me. Junior Myers says, Kean should start, which why pay so much for him and bring him off the bench? I think he hasn't been starting because of fitness. Obviously, he's new to the league, he's new to the country. I think that's the reasons to why he hasn't been in the starting 11 over the last couple of weeks. However, for me, listen, he seems fitter than the others did, and he's creating more opportunities than the others are as well, so I'd bring him in now, really would. Everton FC is the best, says, well, at least our goalkeeper doesn't give the ball to the wrong player and basically give them a goal. Coffee, yeah, but at the end of the day, they're undefeated in the league, and, they're top of the league, and they're cruising, so for our keeper to make one mistake and us be in their position, I'd take that at the minute. Where are we? David says, but it is good that he's not making mistakes. And they are shite, aren't they? No, I'm only messing. David says, Iwobi isn't anything special. Ask any Arsenal fan, yet he looked like Messi. He looked fantastic. And I'm not going off what he done at Arsenal. I'm not going off what any Arsenal fan says. I'm going off what I see him in an Everton shirt, and I think that's what we all should do as a fan base. I think we all should judge Kean, Alex Iwobi, Fabian Delph, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, all the new signings off what they do in an Everton shirt. Because if Alex Iwobi breaks into the team and he starts to play week in, week out, and he's absolutely fantastic, I don't give a fuck what he done for Arsenal. I don't give a fuck what Arsenal fan TV say about him, because at the end of the day, if he's playing well for Everton and he's creating opportunities and he's scoring goals for Everton, that's good enough for me. It really is. And he looked absolutely fantastic when he come on Friday night. Evan FC is the best, says, wow, Spurs got beat by Newcastle. See, the big teams are losing to some, well, let's admit it, to some shit teams. So we're not the only one, so I guess that's comforting. It is, but I don't know, I suppose you could look at that two ways, couldn't you? I tweeted out yesterday that the only positive to take from Friday is that United lost as well, and, they've dropped points, but at the end of the day, you could also see that as a negative, because it was a massive opportunity for us to gain an advantage on those teams, and we didn't. Steve says, where's Cenk Kami? He's not being part of us anymore. Again, where is Cenk Tosun? Maybe Cenk Tosun should now, take a place on the bench. Maybe he becomes another option to bring off the bench, or, even to start, because at the end of the day, I think his finishing's better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin's at the minute as well. So it's a really good question. I just don't think he's being part of the matchday squad in the last couple of weeks. Ian says, what's the news on Gbamin? And then David says he's out for 2 months, and Ian says, damn, yep, that is the news. Evertonian TV says, hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. Hello mate, I hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay myself, other than that shower of shite on Friday. Ian says, Thomas shoe in for Lincoln. Yeah, listen, I think Tom Davis will play on Wednesday night. I think he should play as well. I think he deserves his opportunity. David says, I think we swung from being overloaded with players to now not having enough. But we've spent the money, we've brought in a decent couple of signings, and I understand it's going to take them time to settle in. I understand that, they're not going to jump into the team straight away and be absolutely unbelievable, but it was the lads that have been here now for a year, season and a half, that let me down on Friday night, and that I was thinking, you can't perform like that in the Premier League, because you're going to get turned over by 19 out of 20 teams if you perform like that. Villa Mike says, I'm a Villa fan and was at the game. Everton surprised me a little. They didn't look comfortable and look tired. I think they underestimated Villa, which worked in our favour. Iwobi looked good. Maybe we did. We sat here as a fan base, doing the game preview and the week before saying we can't underestimate Villa and we need to make sure we give them the respect they deserve. Maybe the team did underestimate them, despite Silva coming out saying they wouldn't. But I 100% agree with you. We didn't look confident and we did look really, really tired, and that for me is quite strange to see. Everton FC is the best says, yeah, we underestimated Villa because they seemed shit because they come back from Villa. Everyone was saying 3-0 to Everton. Look how that one turned out. Evertonian TV says, I predicted a draw. I had to take it a draw. Everton FC is the best says because they come back from the Championship. Yeah, I think you knew what he meant. Ian says, I noticed last season we don't use Sig often enough and Gomez seemed to ignore him. Yeah, because I think we're too reliant on the wingers at the minute. We're too reliant on going to Bernard and Richarlison, and that's fair enough because Bernard and Richarlison are fantastic on the day, but at the end of the day, we need to change it a little bit. We need to mix it up. We need to go through Gylfi Sigurdsson. We need to go through Andre Gomez. We need to go through Alex Iwobi when he plays in that position, because that's how we're going to beat teams, by being unpredictable. If we're just predictable every single game, teams know how to set up against us, and they will set up like that against us, and they'll understand how to beat us. If we change it up week after week, even if we change the formation up one week, we're not predictable, and teams can't plan to beat us. Whereas if we just play the same style of football week in, week out, teams are going to understand how to get past us. Saino says, I'd rather not see Kean and Iwobi versus Lincoln and see them start on Sunday. I would as well. If that's the option, if the option is they don't play on Wednesday and they start on Sunday, I'd take that as well. But I think they should be able to start both games. Evertonian TV says, Ian Clark, it was a bad day at the office for Gomez. It was. And I think it's important that we understand it was just a poor game for Andre Gomez. He was fantastic last week and he'll probably be fantastic next week as well. It was a poor game for him. He got a lot of stick on Twitter. I've been absolutely rinsed on Twitter by Villa fans for putting a picture up of him in the new third kit saying, is there anything he doesn't look good in? And then everyone saying, Villa Park, the midfield, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? He was shocking. We can't defend that performance. You've got to sit there and go, yeah, he was poor. He was absolutely poor. But it's a one-off game for Andre Gomez, and I think it's important that we understand that and we don't get on his back. John says, Calvert-Lewin can't see him, and he's too nice to opponents, and Kean can score more goals, and he's not scared to score against other teams as well. Yeah, spot on. Evertonian TV says, John Shadwick, Kean should be given a start against Wolves or Lincoln. I think he should be given a start against both, personally. Ian says, yes, he's a great player. Like, I'm not slagging him, just questioning our tactics. Yeah, listen, I think that is a tactical issue, and I think that's something Marco Silva has to look at and deal with as well, because again, that's obviously coming from the backroom staff. That's obviously coming from the management, is to play through the wings and not through the middle. Evertonian TV says, fair enough. Good Soul says, we were so one-dimensional on Friday night, no creativity, relied on slowly putting it out to the wingers, so easy to play against. Exactly, and I think Villa were probably sitting there rubbing their hands together at half-time thinking, this is piss. These are so easy to play against because we'll just batter them through the midfield and they'll have nothing, and that's exactly what he did. John says, Kean should start on Wednesday against Lincoln in the League Cup, and we should start Iwobi ahead of Richarlison. I think Richarlison needs a rest now, and David says Iwobi doesn't play right side. You could probably put Bernard right side. You could probably put, I don't know, you could bring somebody else. I think Richarlison does need a rest, and that's something that I wanted to talk about as well. Listen, we've spoken about it so much over the last couple of weeks. The lad's had a long summer. He's gone out there. He's won the Copa America with Brazil. Bring him out for a couple of weeks now. Like I said at the start of the team, I think he should have a rest now until at least after the international break, because he's not fit. He's not offering us a lot. And he's only tiring himself out, so give him a rest, bring him out and let the lad recuperate and have the rest that he deserves. Everton FC is the best. 26 watching, 7 likes from me. Come on Blues, it only takes a second. Thank you very much for that, and yeah, it does. Please, if you are enjoying today's team, please do hit the like button. It'd mean a massive amount to me. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. I want to talk about one more thing before we end today's team, and that is VAR, referees, shit decisions, penalties, all that shite. Listen, there was one VAR penalty decision that didn't go our way on Friday night. It was a push on Richarlison in the box. The player got nowhere near the ball, made contact with Richarlison. Richarlison went down. Some people on Twitter thought it was, too soft. Some people on Twitter thought it was a dive. For me, it's a penalty. And I'm not just saying that because he's an Everton player. I'm not just saying that because it's Richarlison. It's a penalty for me. There's contact. It impedes Richarlison's run. The lad gets nowhere near the ball. Richarlison goes down. What about that isn't a penalty? You've just seen Mo Salah get his shirt slightly tugged. He went down and that was a penalty. So what's the difference? What is the difference, and why isn't that getting VAR'd? Why aren't the referees taking another look at that and clearly seeing that the Aston Villa player gets nowhere near the ball, he clips Richarlison and Richarlison goes down? Yeah, it might be soft. It might be, but 99% of the penalties that'll be given this season will be soft. And, you know, that's all I've got to say. And I'm thinking about doing a little video on VAR on the other channel to just discuss it, because I think it's been, not VAR itself, but the rule book and the referees, I think, have been absolutely shocking this season so far. And Everton FC is the best. I know I fucking hate VAR. If I was a Man City fan, you don't know how pissed I would be. Yet they've been shafted again today for another penalty decision against VAR. But again, it's not VAR, it's the rule book, and it's the dickhead referees that sit behind the screens that aren't making the decisions. Yeah. And that's the end of that one. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive, massive thank you to everybody for watching. A massive thanks to everybody for getting involved. David says we only have Walker to replace Richarlison. We don't have depth. That's a very, very good point. And to me, as you know, poor as he was in terms of creating them opportunities and scoring that, scoring that opportunity that he had on Friday night, I'd put Richarlison in on Wednesday against Lincoln. I'd put Walker in on Wednesday against Lincoln. I think he should have more than enough to compete against the side in the lower league, and then I'd take him out against Wolves at the weekend, and I'd use him as an impact sub again. But I don't think Walcott's good enough to come on and be the player that you look at to win us game of football, and you've seen that he hasn't got the composure in front of goal, and he hasn't got the quality in front of goal. Ian says VAR will benefit the shite as usual. That's exactly what it seems to be doing at the minute. And Everton FC is the best. Says, see you, Cam. Great team as always. Thank you very much, and thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments as per usual. If you have enjoyed today's team, please do leave a like. It means a massive, massive amount to me. Let's see if we can get to 10 before we end this team. We're currently on 8. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe as well. Getting close now to 800 subscribers, so if you could hit that subscribe button, it'd mean a massive, massive amount to me. Listen, we can forget about that game on Friday night now. We can put it to the back of our minds. We don't have to think about it. We don't have to talk about it again. Onwards and upwards now to Wednesday night. Hopefully get a good win against the side that realistically we should be beating. However, again, we shouldn't underestimate, but we should be getting past them, we should be beating them, and then obviously it gives us a little bit of confidence going into Sunday's game against Wolves, and hopefully get back to winning ways in the Premier League. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A massive, massive thanks to everybody for watching, massive thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you're watching us a YouTube video afterwards, don't forget to leave your comments in the comments section, and I'll be replying to those all night as well. Once again, a massive, massive thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed. Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 6:15. Yes, we will be live tomorrow as well, at 6:15 for the game preview to the Lincoln game. So, you know, should be an interesting one, of course. You'll see my predicted starting 11, and we'll talk a little bit about the game in a little bit more depth as well. But anyway, that's going to do it for today. A massive, massive thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Good Soul says, nice one, Cam. Nice one, Good Soul. And thanks to everybody else for getting involved in today's stream. Everton FC is the best. Says, yeah, forgot that game ever happened, and I might be going to the Wolves game. Come on, you Blues. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And yeah, let's forget about Friday night, because it was just an absolute disaster. And Evertonian TV says, come on, you Blues. Yeah, come on, you Blues. Up the toffees. Onwards and upwards. And let's look forward to Wednesday night. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. Massive thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.